Hello and welcome to episode 1158 of The Sleeper and the Bust. It is Friday, March 31st. I'm your host, Paul Sporer, joined this afternoon by Justin Mason. Justin, good day, sir.
Good morning. How you doing? Or afternoon, I guess now.
I'm doing all right. Season started. Can't be upset about that at all. Justin Verlander's on the IL makes me very upset. But other than that, we got baseball. I don't like the 5-game schedule on day 2 either. I was great to you about that before we started. I don't know why Texas and Tampa Bay, they're separate series, but I don't know why those two hosts aren't still hosting. You can't be rained out. They play in covered spots. I understand all the places that have potential cold weather, right? Like, you have to have that built-in day there. But everywhere else, play 4 games. 5 games on a Friday with no afternoon games. It's just, I don't know. It's not the end of the world, but it's kind of silly to me. Anyway, enough.
Yeah,
baseball's back, and that's good.
I don't get it, especially even I guess San Francisco's playing in New York, so I guess it couldn't. But just schedule all the games in California, the South, and in domed stadiums.
I imagine that's too hard. No, because we do talk about that every year, but I'm sure they've thought about that. That has to be too hard to where it creates havoc down the line. I get it, right? You have to have some places that are going to be ugly weather. I'm not even saying you have to have a full slate day 2. You got to have more than 5 and no.
Yeah, 5 games.
So
again, nothing until 6:00 Eastern.
Yeah, you got the Rays and Rangers hosting, both in covered spots, not playing today. Detroit Tampa makes no sense to me because they're going to play more than 3 times anyway, right? Because they're in the same league. Texas Philly's a little bit different because maybe they're only playing the 3 times. So are you going to take a Saturday or Sunday off? No. Okay, fine. And I do want everyone playing on opening day. So I get it. There are some things that are too difficult to kind of pop off. There has to be more than 5 games on day 2, though. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Whoever's making the schedule is probably the same person running at bat. I know I'm going full John Smoltz here and just complaining about shit, but man, they make at-bat worse. I swear to God, Elon is in charge.
What's your issue with it? Because I didn't have any issues yesterday.
No, it sucks. The interface is pure garbage. When you click on a game and you can't get to video, that's a horrible user experience, right? Do you not agree? From the main scoreboard
I didn't have any issues yesterday. So
No. But you can't get to a video from there. From this screen here. See this? With all the games? You click on it. Now, it's not going to show because there's no game on right now. But you can't get to the video of the game. And that's fucking stupid.
Yeah,
that's a
you gotta hit the watch button.
That's horrendous. It makes no sense. And it's a change from previous. They continue to change things to make it worse, a la Twitter. Hence the Elon reference. I feel like he has to be in charge of this. It's so bad, and every year they make it a little bit worse. Because do
you have a blue check mark? Is that the problem? If you had a blue check mark, it'd be easier.
You have to pay for a blue check mark on
MLB. Yeah,
I would.
I would too.
Freaking better, and I wouldn't get blacked out. I would pay more there.
Oh, I lost my shit yesterday because I was driving and I was like, well, only game on right now is the White Sox Astros game. I was all like, and I kept pressing the button,
ESPN game.
and it kept telling me it's black, and I'm like, no effing way, I'm not blacked out. I live in San Francisco. Neither of these teams, and I could not figure it out for the life of me until I got home and went to go turn it on, and I was like, I'm still blacked out on my TV. And I was like, it's got to be on ESPN. So
what do y'all do for cable?
Comcast is yeah.
Is there a Comcast app? Could you have watched it on there? Because I have YouTube TV, which don't get me started on them on the complaining hour here. But at least I could shift over to that easily to watch the Houston game because I didn't blacked out otherwise. I actually liked that they were on ESPN.
So Comcast has their own MLB package. I don't pay for it because I pay for the MLB.com one and just stream it.
Could you have watched the ESPN game on your phone at all?
Yeah. I could have if I had realized it was on ESPN.
Got you.
I wasn't used to ESPN carrying a Thursday
you were just
afternoon
stubbornly
game.
saying I am not blacked out of this. Give me the GD game.
Yeah,
I got you. Anyway,
I was being a moron. Is what it came down to. Yeah.
Let's be happy. Baseball is back. I don't want to be bitching the whole time. We are going to talk some negative stuff, but we're not going to cry about it.
You're going to do the first one,
I already mentioned Verlander injured. I tend to take guys like Verlander at their word. Players, you have to be careful just trusting them, right? Because they're always taking the rosiest outlook. But I think Verlander's usually pretty honest. Like if it's bad, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be down 8 weeks or whatever. He said it was something that was kind of nagging him through spring, but that he thought it was just kind of normal spring stuff, and that when he didn't work through it, it's a teres major strain, by the way. It's similar, but obviously less severe, at least right now, to what Tristan McKenzie's dealing with. And when he didn't get through it, by the time the season started, he's like, yeah, I should take care of this. Be cautious. It's a 6-month season. I don't want to be stupid about it, was basically what he was saying there. So it kind of came out of nowhere because we didn't have any issues with Verlander. He was apparently playing through it, kind of working through it. And he said, nah, I'm just going to take it off. Overall, I think that is the better thing. When you put him in your main event team that you paid $1,700 for, you're not very happy about it, especially when he's your favorite pitcher ever. So I was bummed from a personal standpoint, but I get it from the overall standpoint of him being smart for both his team and himself. Obviously, we're not making any negative moves with Verlander as far as cutting him or anything like that. Let's talk Tylor Megill. He will now get an opportunity. Or should get an opportunity. What do you think about Tylor Megill? Because he lost out to David Peterson, who very clearly kind of jumped him early as the guy there for Quintana's spot, but now they can both have an opportunity. What do you think of Tylor Megill?
I mean, I like Tylor Megill from a straight skills perspective, but he's just not been able to stay healthy. His velocity was down in spring. He didn't look particularly good in spring.
No, it's command.
Yeah. I mean, I think in deeper leagues, you take the gamble and pick him up, but I don't know that I would want to start him this week. In spite of the fact that he's got to start against Miami on Saturday.
Got to do it. Oh wait,
yeah,
like tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, and then another one next week.
I was gonna say he gets double Miami then.
Yeah, another one versus Miami. So he's at Miami tomorrow, and then home versus. I think I would sit him at Miami just to see. And then
the shot.
I just feel like that's going to end poorly.
It's early against Miami. If it's good, if you think Megill can't handle Miami in Miami, then you should.
You probably shouldn't pick him up. Yeah. No, I don't think I do. I think I would probably pass. I mean, I guess in deeper leagues you take the gamble because it's Miami, but I just think there's so much risk, and I don't know that he is going to have enough innings. In the start to get a win. And so now you're going, there's risk here just because he hasn't looked good in spring. And I don't think it's going to go deep enough for a win. So I'm probably out.
I'm going for Megill. If you can pick him up and it's like a 15-team mixed, obviously any NL only, he was probably already drafted or reserved. If you're looking at like a 12-team, that's a bit more fringe, and I could pick him up and hold him. That's where I could do your sit for the first one and see where he's at situation, a 12-teamer. But anything deeper than that, I'm going for it, because the simple fact is, and we'll talk about this a lot through these first couple of weeks, you don't really get to play a wait and see game, because somebody's going to pick those guys up and just go for it. You don't get a chance to kind of wait, have him on the wire, and then go for it. So if you like Megill at all, you at least have to pick him up now. And if that requires you to start him, there are worse things than being forced to start somebody at Miami. So I like Megill. He did have a bad spring. I understand your trepidation there, but I am picking him up in 15s for sure. 12s, it's a bit more fringe. And then, like I said, with Verlander, we're not too worried. This next guy, we're not super worried either, although Max Fried did have to leave his start early, coming up lane with a hamstring issue, covering first base on one. And I wanted to revisit somebody who we talked about last episode, Dylan Dodd. We're actually going to get into that during the two starts, because we're going to talk two-start pitchers next week. And I know how you felt about him on Monday. I just want to see with a little bit more of a guaranteed spot how you feel. But let's talk about Fried. How concerned are you about this hamstring? He's going to miss his next start for sure and likely to go on the IL, but it is not confirmed IL just yet. Where do you stand with Fried?
I mean, it's a huge bummer, right? Because he's one of those guys, because he doesn't get a ton of strikeouts, you really needed him to volume. It didn't look particularly bad. Like, he didn't really show like he didn't like reach back and grab his hamstring right away or anything like that. He just started kind of, like while he was walking to the mound after stepping on first, like he just kind of like, you could just see he was just a little uncomfortable. I think this is just a being cautious type thing. The Braves have a lot of arms that they can, bring up. It's either going to be Ian Anderson or Bryce Elder to kind of fill that spot in the rotation. I think they're just being cautious.
Wait,
so
you think one of them will take it over Dodd?
No, I think with Dodd
Schuster,
also.
No, Fried. Oh, yeah. Sorry. No, you're right.
Dodd's the 5
Yes.
already.
Yep.
So
You're right. So it'd be Anderson or Elder. Who would you prefer if you got to pick? Who would you like to see more, Elder or Anderson?
I mean, I'd like to see Anderson a little bit more. I think we know what Elder is, which is kind of a swing man type, probably best suited as like a long reliever guy that doesn't really have a ton of upside. But Anderson was considered a top 40 starter coming into last year, and just got completely thrashed in the majors, and then wasn't great in the minors. But
should he have been though? He had a 4.38 SIERA.
No, he absolutely shouldn't have been.
And I drafted him, right? So I'm not throwing stones saying like I knew and you guys were wrong. I was in on Anderson thinking that he could.
It was a prospect pedigree.
But man, he was well overdrafted and obviously flopped big time. He's 25 though. I agree that there's still some interest. But he's 10% walk rate through 272 innings. Like the control has been a consistent issue. I agree. Elder doesn't have a ton of upside because he doesn't get swings and misses. So it is probably Anderson that is more appealing. But Elder keeps the ball on the ground really nicely. So
and they did just give Orlando Arcia a 3-year contract extension.
I don't know why
we
disagreed on this during the Ron Grissom. I think Orlando Arcia is a pretty decent player.
I mean, he's a very good defensive player, but it just tells me that Grissom is not coming back up anytime soon. So, like, there were some people. I did a couple drafts right before the start of draft season, and there were people still drafting Vaughn Grissom, and I'm like, oh, that is not going to end well.
No, the thing of it is, 3 years, $7.3 million is not a huge outlay for Arcia. It is to be a utility guy. So if Grissom took a Marcus Semien-like jump defensively to where he became a strong shortstop, he could come up and nab that job.
Yeah, but there's so few guys who ever do that.
I still wouldn't have drafted him. And I think Arcia is intriguing. I kind of like him for 15-team mixers and probably not 12s unless you have a deep reserve, but he's someone I'm at least keeping an eye on. I liked Arcia back in Milwaukee.
I did too. I thought I always thought he was going to turn into like a 10-20 guy.
Yeah. And maybe this is where he does. I mean, Arcia's only 28.
I know, that's crazy.
He's not like some grandpa.
Yeah.
It's age 28 season, so it's like if he spiked a double season, well, he doesn't really run anymore. So I think it's more of like I could see like a 14.
So who knows? Apparently everybody's running. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna talk about that here in a minute, but everybody ran. I ran yesterday.
You had a few steals, which was really nice. Yeah. Let's stick on the injury news, dude. Jordan Hicks tried to murder their new catcher. Willson, did you see it?
This was scary. Yes, I was watching it when it happened.
Me too. It hurt me to look at. Blasted him in the knee with a 103 mile an hour sinker. It did scrape the ground a little bit, which maybe took a little bit of the energy from it, but it doesn't matter. You saw how the pad absorbed some of it. Again, didn't matter. You probably needed a triple pad to really withstand the power of that. And when Willson Contreras got up to go after it, he immediately hobbled, and you could tell that he was in pain. Oh my God, it hurt my knee just watching it. He ended up having to leave the game. MRIs are negative right now. How you feeling about Willson Contreras and his knee after taking that 103 mile an hour sinker from Jordan Hicks, though?
I mean, I don't think he's going to go on the IL, but I would expect him to miss at least the weekend series and kind of just then just take it easy with him. There's the big contract over the off season. They're going to be careful with him. I'm glad that the X-rays and MRIs and everything were negative. So, just kind of pick up a catcher to fill in. Yeah, they might. Well, do they want him running on it? I mean, it becomes the thing.
True.
So.
Maybe he gets a pinch hit or something. But even if they just take the weekend, again, it's the very beginning of the year. You're not pushing your star new catcher, beyond his means for any unnecessary reason. Andrew Kisner's going to take over for now. He's not really the pickup. Like in two catcher formats, I would go for Blake Sable if he's still available.
I picked him up in Tout Wars.
Yeah, he's somebody I'd look at. Nick Fortes was drafted in most two catchers. I would look for Nick Fortes maybe in a one catcher. Any other catchers you can think of off the top of your head?
Well, we're about to talk about Gary Sanchez.
Oh yeah. Speaking of the Giants, yeah, let's bring up Gary Sanchez. Y'all inked him, but it's to a minor league deal, so I doubt he would be the fill-in for Willson Contreras right now because he needs to get reacclimated and everything. But the reason I like Blake Sabol is because he's a non-catching catcher, by the way, catcher-eligible guy who isn't catching behind.
Not in every format, apparently. He is not.
Oh,
I got to
really?
wait for him to get catcher eligibility on Roto. So I don't know where. I'll check ESPN Yahoo real quick.
I don't know if he will get it, though, because, like, again, I don't think he's going to catch, especially now that y'all signed Gary Sanchez. So
I mean, I think he'll get some opportunities. I don't think Bart is long for the major leagues. I think Bart is.
You guys are poning Bart?
So Farhan Saidi was on KNBR yesterday, and he made a comment about if Bart does early this season what he did last year, that they'll have to get they'll have to look into other options at the catcher position. And then today they signed Gary Sanchez. I think Bart is on an extremely short leash.
Yikes. I'm looking at some Yahoo availability. One catcher leagues, Grandal might be available. I told y'all he would come back this year. He hit a homer yesterday, so I got that one right. Chalk that one up for me. I nailed that one. Gabriel Moreno is only 35% rostered at Yahoo. I would definitely be in on him. How would you rank Travis d'Arnaud, Gabriel Moreno, and Yasmani Grandal as a Willson Contreras holdover in shallow or one catcher formats?
Ooh, I think I would go.
Because we're talking like the next week, probably, right? This is not a long.
Yeah.
We don't think it's going to be a long-term thing, so think very, very shallow here, or very short-term.
I think I would go Grandal because he could probably get some DH opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would go. Let's see.
Unfortunately, Grandal's at Houston and Moreno's at the Dodgers. Whereas,
yeah, but d'Arnaud's at Washington, but then he goes to St. Louis.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So it's not. Nobody has great matchups except for maybe d'Arnaud this weekend with the Saturday and Sunday at Washington.
Yeah. I think I'd probably go d'Arnaud and then Moreno.
I'd still go Grandal.
But I think I want Grandal ahead of both of them.
Especially if you're listening to this before games start and you can pick up for Friday. They both play Friday and d'Arnaud doesn't, so you would get that extra game. But yeah, keep an eye on that. If anything bigger happens, we'll give you more long-term situations there.
Here's another one I wouldn't mind though. Luis Campusano had a pretty good spring. And they're home. Yeah, they're home versus Colorado, and I know you prefer to be in Colorado, but
yeah, you still face Colorado pitchers though.
You still face Colorado pitchers, and then they get Arizona, but it's like Ryne Nelson. I guess Zach Gallen's still pretty good.
They get the Dodgers first, don't they?
Yeah, they got Dodgers, and then I'm saying San Diego after that.
Got it. Oh no, you're right. Sorry, I'm wrong.
Wait, no, Colorado, and then the Dodgers.
Yeah, Colorado. Then Colorado.
Colorado then Arizona. You got me all messed up.
I messed you up. I'm sorry. That was my fault. I was looking at something else. But yeah, I like Campusano too. I actually moved
in deeper leagues. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 catcher formats for sure. I moved him up late under the idea that Nola had also gotten hit in the face, which wasn't awesome. Felt pretty terrible for him. But I moved Campusano up thinking, hey, there could be a little something here. He's still a big time prospect from a few years ago, and I wonder if he could really make some noise this year getting more PT. So I like him in 2 catcher formats as well. That's a good call out. Let's talk some closers. First day, Andrés Muñoz and Jhoan Duran both get the closing opportunities for their respective teams. Are you reading into it at all?
No, not yet. I mean, if they both get the next one, then I'm going to start perking my ear up, and if they both get the next 2, then I'll be like, okay, maybe things have changed. But these are organizations that, like if like Joe Schmo had gotten a save on either of these teams, like Griffin Jacks in Minnesota or Steckenrider, I don't even know if Steckenrider's still in Seattle, had gotten it yesterday, would you have been surprised? Because I wouldn't have been.
Yeah, I would have been surprised for sure if it had been anybody but Sewald or Muñoz. Barring like extra innings, yeah, I would have been surprised. Now,
I wouldn't have been.
Came in a tied game.
Mm-hmm.
and then Muñoz came in after the Ty France hit the 3-run homer. Lopez pitched earlier, but it wasn't necessarily like he faced the heart of the order or anything. But I believe Duran faced the heart of the order, so it happened to be the 9th inning. So again, I'm just asking. I'm not sure that it means that they're the closers or anything. You got to feel good if you drafted them, though, getting that first save. I thought they were draft worthy, even as guys that you're expecting maybe 12 to 15 saves from, because you're probably also looking to get 5-6 wins, ton of strikeouts, and great ratios. So I was in on either of them anyway, but you got to feel nice to get the first save, even if you can't put too much into it.
I mean, like I got a save from Danny Jimenez yesterday. Like I'm not feeling like I'm necessarily like struck a gold mine with my 29th round pick or anything like that, but like it's nice to get it. Like I'd much rather.
But May pitched before him. Like maybe there is something there, because I think people had moved off of Jimenez, and it's not like May pitched. Well, he did pitch 9-1-2. That's what was due up. It ended up being 9-1-2-3-4 that he ended up pitching to, because he had a couple walks. So maybe May is still the guy against the heart of the order, but not bad to steal a save, especially
I'll take it
on an Oakland guy, because they're so bad. I can't believe they won.
They may not get that many more saves less the way.
Get him out of there, dude. Now the two Ryans, Helsley and Pressly, they were shaky in their debuts. Are you overly reading into either of those?
Helsley not so much, but Pressly looked like something was wrong. He kept like shaking his hand or his arm.
Clemens was in the broadcast. He did the booth, or he was part of the broadcast crew for ESPN there, and he was dialed in on that. It's early. I'm not saying Pressly can't go out and have 30 saves, but he was a full fade for me this year just because of his health. Strictly health. He just 34, and I was worried.
He was just lower on my list in terms, like comparatively to the field. Like if he had dropped, like I almost ended up with him in my main event because he started to drop a little bit, but then I ended up going Bautista instead. I'm a little bit concerned about Pressly,
but he got his save.
But he got it done, so I'm not super worried there. I'm a little worried on Pressly. I'm not super worried, especially because like Gallegos is injured now, so like who's St. Louis even going to go to it? Yeah, Gallegos had like a back issue yesterday.
Did he go on the IL?
No, I think they're saying just day to day for right now. Got it. I think that gives Helsley just a little bit more rope.
Well, he's not going to pitch back-to-back days, though. I think if anything, that would give somebody else the opportunity.
Well, don't worry, because MLB apparently doesn't play back-to-back days.
Like maybe Jordan Hicks still can't find the zone. I don't think Andrés Palante is the guy. So I don't know exactly who would benefit from that. But I still think Gallegos is the second guy you want there. But in the short term, not because of the lower back tightness. I see it now. He was unavailable for opening day because of it, but not a long-term concern. But yeah, Helsley, and again, I don't want to do confirmation bias on either of these guys just because I started to fade them. I did start to worry a little bit about Helsley with the no back-to-backs. And remember last year I was super in on Gallegos, thought he could be the A closer. He got chased down by Helsley, took the L there. But now Gallegos is the chase guy, right? He's the underdog now. And he's the one who was dirt cheap. I still think he can get low double-digit saves, and I'm intrigued enough to stay bought in on him. And I think where he's available, you might take a shot if you're chasing saves in a deep enough format. I think Gallegos is still a worthy pickup. Not specifically because of this issue this outing from Helsley, but more so just because they're not going to go back-to-back days with Helsley.
Yeah.
And then Rafael Montero would be the guy in Houston, although he wasn't great either. So
he was
that's
not.
why I'm not using this to say like, oh, Pressly's cooked, because Montero blew it before him. They both just had rough ones. Grandal.
That was just a crazy game. Like
it was a great game.
Though. There were a few. The Cardinals game was crazy as well. So
that
it was
just a bananas game.
That was a really fun game to watch, in spite of the fact Manaea got blown up early, and Nicholas who got blown up early.
They both got smoked. And you mentioned already Sánchez to the Giants. So we won't talk about that right now. Opening day stolen bases. You hinted at this earlier. Last year, 2. This year, 21. Can you believe that? Now, all I did, maybe I did the math wrong. Well, I didn't do any math. I just looked. So what I did was I went to league stats on our page. I went to 2022, and I did April 8th, which is opening day. and it said 2 for the league. And then today it says 21 for yesterday. So if I'm wrong and there was more, please correct me. But I can show you. I'll send you the link right here. It says 31 homers. Like, this looks like a full day of stats. There were 2 last year on opening day and 21. Now, it is just one day, but I think that's something. I really do.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Was open. I thought
what we were seeing in spring too.
Opening day wasn't the 8th, so maybe that's the problem.
Oh, maybe that's it. Because I looked up.
It was
somebody who plays.
It
all
was
the
the
time,
7th.
Oh, okay, well, then that's probably where I effed up. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I messed up. So I looked up somebody who plays all the time, and the first guy that came to my mind was Marcus Semien. So I went and looked at their game log, and game 1 for them was the 8th, which means they didn't play on the.
But here's the thing.
Opening day.
Yeah, so I just looked up opening day. It was only 5, so you're not like. So it's still not like that. Like,
it's still a major jump. Then it's 5x instead of 10x then, or 4x rather.
You know, I don't think every team played on opening day last year, so you've got like that. But still, I mean, you're still talking about, like, even if we doubled it, you'd still have more than double the amount of stolen bases.
Still be 2x, yeah.
You know, so I mean, clearly there were some teams that went, we're running, and we're gonna kind of see if catchers can stop us given the new rules around pitching, the larger bases.
There were only 7 games, to your point.
There you go. So,
but
even if you double that and get to 14 games, you're still got 10 stolen bases to 21. So,
there were 12 the next day, and there were only 2 steals. So you can smash both those days together. It's 7
get 7 stolen bases.
The bottom line is there's something here, even on the very short sample, because while it is a 1-day sample, it's still a lot of game. It's a lot of plate appearances, I should say. Right, like the entire league's plate appearances. I don't know. The math year folks out there might tell me, hey, you're totally overrating 1 day, but I think there might be a little something here that everything we thought about running being more frequent, checking in on day 1, a bunch of 2 steal guys. So what do you make of it, and how would you utilize that info? Obviously, we're going to keep monitoring it. We'll check in again on Monday to see how the weekend went. But how's this change things for you, if at all, now that we have already drafted and it's in-season management time?
I mean, it's so hard to know, like, how much of this is going to be really sticky. I'm kind of looking to see if I see, like, was it like spread out, or was it a little bit more like a few teams really taking advantage. Because like 4 of
2 twos, 5 total.
5 total stolen bases.
Mateo and Mullins, 2 apiece, and then Frazier got 1 as well. So they had 5 of them, sure.
And then
Taijuan Bay had 2. So there are 3 guys with 2, and then a ton of 1s. I don't know, man. I think it's something.
I think it's something too.
Because they were up in spring too. Like, this isn't just opening day. Spring.
The problem is only like 3 of the stolen bases, 2 for Bay and 1 from Adam Frazier are guys are like available on your waiver wire. So like this is,
well, it depends on the league size. Thairo Estrada, Seth Brown.
I don't think they're rostered in most
10-team
leagues. I would think so.
Thairo,
maybe not.
But not. I think Brown's
maybe not Seth Brown. Probably in some Yahoo leagues for sure, because you got 3 outfielders.
Probably is available.
Oh yeah, Mateo. That's true. So, I mean, I think it kind of depends. Like, you're going to be able to find stolen bases, it appears, a lot easier off the waiver wire.
But that also means you're going to need more too.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So at Yahoo, by the way, Seth Brown 49% rostered.
There you go. Okay.
So that have some availability. Thairo, not so much. He's triple eligible, short, second, and outfield, so 91% rostered. So not as available. But yeah, I think they're going to be more available, but you're going to need more, so you're going to need to keep churning to making sure you're not falling too far behind. We'll keep monitoring it. It's 1 day. At the end of the day, it's still just 1 handful.
Yeah,
of days, but it was a lot, man.
This is going to be. I mean, I think actually what I want to look up right now is I'm going to look up league stats, and I want to look up There were only 2 caught stealers.
So
they were 21 for 23.
Yep.
I mean, if you're running at like a 95% success rate league wide, everybody's going to start stealing.
Yeah.
Like it's just
keep that success rate, but I think it's going to be a high success rate with the bases.
This is going to turn out to be a huge mistake.
Why?
Like you're pretty much like guaranteeing second base by getting a walk. Like it's just.
So do you not remember the 80s?
Yeah, no, I don't. I was barely alive in the 80s.
That was the joke. But they've had this before. Why is it a mistake? I disagree. No mistake. Good. Incite action. I want to see things happening. This is good. Teams will adjust. You can figure it out. Find some guys with better arms. Give away some of the framing for a better arm. Make adjustments. Change the game. Like, things being the same thing every year, that's boring as shit, man. I'm ready. I hope this is the beginning of something. We'll see. It is one day after all.
I mean, I'll tell you, I'm not going to have any problem if Cedric Mullins steals 324 bases. I mean,
I think you'd like that.
I'm okay with it. Yeah, I've got him everywhere. I mean, not everywhere, but a lot of places at least.
You got one from Kelnick too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you got your boys running wild for you.
Well, I don't have Kelnick in the main, unfortunately. I got sniped pretty hard there, but I get.
You got him in the auction.
I got Glaber, yeah.
And you got Glaber. So
I got 4 stolen bases in my main yesterday. I was like, nice. I was like, holy crap! I'm like, but like now, how many stolen bases? You probably needed like 90 stolen bases to win the category. Now you're gonna need 160.
We'll see. We'll see what it ends up being, but it's intriguing for sure. And I'm already just eager to kind of track it day by day right now and just kind of see where it's going. All right, let's continue here. Talk some two-step guys. Obviously, availability will depend. I didn't include some of the guys that like have no chance of being, and even this first guy I listed probably isn't available in even like 10s, but he's at 67% at Yahoo. So that's why I included Reid Detmers at Seattle and home to Toronto. I would have drafted him in a 10-teamer, I think. So, of course, I'm starting him everywhere. What do you think about Reid Detmers? I know you weren't as keen on him.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little FOMO right now. Like I watched his last spring start, and he was so dominant. Like he looked really, really good. And I was like, oh, maybe I've made a mistake here in not drafting him. But I just couldn't get over the price jump late, especially. I mean, I think especially if you paid one of the later prices for him, so you were taking the top 150 picks, I feel like you got to start him, even though these are 2 really tough matchups that could definitely do damage. So I would probably be a little bit more skeptical of starting him, especially versus Toronto and Seattle. But I don't know. If you drafted him, you probably were a big fan of his, so you probably should be starting him.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Hunter Brown, 79% at Yahoo, so not as available, but I decided to include him just in case he isn't available in some of those shallower formats. Detroit at Minnesota, I think similar type of deal here. If you paid the premium, because he moved up quite a bit as well, you love him, you got to go with him. Easy start. Obviously, you get the Detroit start, which is great, and at Minnesota is not easy, but it's also not terrifying me. I'm starting Hunter Brown everywhere.
Yeah, I actually picked him up in an ESPN league.
That's what I'm saying. See, that's why I included him, there is some availability out there.
Yeah, so I'm starting him next week and hoping for the best. But I wouldn't be overly shocked if he doesn't go deep into the game, considering he's coming off of like an injury issue.
Tyler Mahle gets the 1-up, 1-down treatment. Trip to Miami, home to Houston. 25% rostered at Yahoo, so going to be available in a lot of those shallower 12s and 10 formats. We were so excited to get him out of Cincinnati last year, and then he got hurt like 4 starts into his Minnesota career. I'm still super intrigued to see what he can do out of Great American. Are you starting Tyler Mahle here in shallower formats?
Oh, this is really, really tough. Probably because you're at Miami and at least you're home versus Houston, but that Houston starts very, very scary. And the velocity still hasn't come all the way back, which is a little scary for me. So
it wasn't a great spring.
No, it was not. I did not. I mean, if you listened to the podcast last year, you knew how much I loved Tyler Mahle coming into the year, and then especially once he got traded. I didn't draft him anywhere this year. He's not on a single one of my teams. So, I mean, I am pretty petrified that he is not healthy.
Yeah, I have some concerns there too, but I think if you got him, you're riding it out. That's where I'm at with it with Tyler Mahle right now, especially early. You know, you do have more time to make up for it if you're taking shots. So my bar is a little bit more wide open early.
See, I'm a little bit more conservative early because I don't want to put myself in a hole that I have to dig myself out of.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna get like Alek Manoah got hit, right? So things are gonna happen. I think it makes sense to just be more aggressive early on, because you just have more time to make up for it. Michael Kopech, San Francisco, and at Pittsburgh. That's pretty juicy. I'm starting him.
You've got to I've got Kopech in a lot of places, so he's going to be starting for me next week for sure.
Yeah, and has some availability there, 28% at Yahoo, so should be able to be picked up. Kyle Bradish, you weren't as keen on him at Texas, home to the Yankees. I love that he's home at least against the Yankees because that park, obviously, we know what it did for him last year. Easy starting 15s. If you drafted him, you're bought in. I think I'm starting him in 12s, and depending on what's available, I might start him in 10s, but I'm definitely starting Kyle Bradish in 12s. What do you think of Bradish?
That Texas team is a little bit scary.
They're good. I'm not saying that. I'm just bought in on Bradish.
I am too. I'm bought in on Bradish too, so I think I'm going with it, but I don't feel good about it. Like
it's nerve-wracking, but if he gives you a nice two-step here, you're going to feel really good about having bought in and be like, yes, this is my guy. This is why I wanted him. You know, it's going to be like that type of deal. But yeah, he is getting challenged right out of the gate here with the at Texas home to the Yankees. Sean Manaea had the big velo spike in spring that caught a lot of attention. He's going to drop a 2-start right away at the White Sox, home to KC, back in his old stomping grounds there with KC. What do you think of Sean Manaea for your Giants?
The at Chicago is the one that scared me. I don't care about the Kansas City one. That's fine. That's an easy pull trigger on. I think I'm okay going for it because the strikeout upside is there. But man, it's a tough park to pitch in and a tough team to pitch against. So I can understand not wanting to do it in your shallower formats.
I'm going for it in 12s. 10s, I don't think you probably don't have to.
Yeah.
I think you can afford to maybe not go for Manaea in there. But listen, this is another one of those guys where I'm saying my window's opened up a bit more, and if you bought in on him and he's one of your guys, he's your Bradish. You know, if Manaea is the guy that you're really bought in on, I think you go for it here because you're protected by the KC at home. The White Sox I do believe in, though. I do think they're going to be good. And that offense can be really tough. So that's going to be a tough one. But if you trust Manaea and you really think he's going to have a good year, then you're going to have starts like this at Chicago.
Yeah, I agree.
Jon Gray gets Baltimore at home. He'll be in the Bradish start, and then a trip to the Cubs. What do you think of Jon Gray? I know you've been a long-term fan. I would imagine you're in on this.
Yeah, I'm in on this. I think this is fine.
Yep, easy peasy there. I don't even need to go too much deeper. I think if you bought in on him, you go for it. Roansy Contreras. This is a tough one. At the Red Sox, home to the White Sox.
I'm not touching this.
Yeah, the intriguing Pirate. What about, so 10s and 12s were out. What about 15s? Where the pickings are a lot slimmer.
Do you think there's any chance that even if he's like pitching well, that he goes 5 innings? Like I mean,
I think there's like, and I'm not saying a chance like a 1%. I think there's like a reasonable chance if Roansy Contreras is pitching well. It's the pitching well part that I am. Yeah,
I'm not. No, I don't want to do this. This doesn't. There's a reason I didn't draft him anywhere. Like I'm not in on this.
I totally understand. These are two lineups that the Red Sox this year they've lost Story. They're not getting hyped up at all, and I totally get it. But it's not an offense that you're like dying to face. Like these are it's a veteran-laden squad with a few youngsters mixed in that I think can do some damage. So I agree with you. I think even in 15s, I'm sitting this one out. I'm still keeping him. If I drafted him, I'm keeping Roansy Contreras. But, man, it's so tough, though, to have a guy like this and then to not use him in a 2-step, right? Because then, like, when are you...
This is why I don't draft guys like this. This is why I try to stay away from him. On a bad team I just can't really trust that he is good enough to not just especially because his walk rate. Like I just worry he's going to walk the yard and then give up a grand slam. Like
No, I understand the concerns
do
here with
it.
Contreras. I do kind of feel like if you drafted him, you kind of have to start him though.
I don't think you do. I absolutely.
Then why did you draft him?
I don't know, but that was a mistake. But don't like double down on that mistake by letting him go up against these two lineups.
Like I get what you're saying, but we also have to come at it from a person that doesn't agree with us of his concern. They don't share the same concerns, right? So I think if you believe that Roansy Contreras, is the 379, 127 ERA whip guy he was last year, 13% swinging strike rate, I don't know. I'm teetering on it. If I'm bought in on him. Brady Singer and Kris Bubic, a.k.a. Tit Scratch, they get Toronto at home and then a trip to San Francisco. Singer's an easy one. I just included him just so to acknowledge that he's also getting a two-step. He's not that available either, 86% at Yahoo. It's Bubic who is the one who will be available. What do you think of old Tit Scratch?
No, I'm not starting to scratch anywhere. Like,
didn't he?
Not going to do it. No, I think wasn't that Keller that did things in spring?
Keller. Okay.
Yeah, it was Keller had a pitch, added a new pitch, and was looking a lot better in spring. But Bubic is still a Tit Scratch. Yeah,
I'm out on that one. He would need to show me some things before I'd really be getting in on Kris Bubic right now, and not a particularly easy draw there with Toronto, even coming to their home park. And then trip to San Francisco, I don't think y'all's lineup is super scary, but it's Kris Bubic.
Yeah,
Tigers,
exactly.
The Matthews, the Matts and Matthew Boyd, Matt Manning, they get at Houston, home to Boston. I'm a Boyd boy.
And I like Manning, but I'm not starting either of these guys.
But I don't know, man. I don't
at all. Like, no way. Like these like I'm waiting for them to get blown up in this two start, so that way I can pick them up in the leagues where I didn't get them. So
do I revoke my Boyd boy membership for not starting him?
No. Okay. This is super scary lineup. Yeah, because I mean Houston murders pitching, and I mean, if it was like Boston. Yeah, exactly. If it was Boston and like
KC,
Tampa Bay,
even Tampa Bay, a good
team. Like I would probably start, but I'm not doing Houston. No.
And then Manning's even less of a concern right now, or less of a consideration for me than Boyd.
Though he finished strong, he finished really strong in spring. I'm very intrigued.
I'm with you, but I agree. Let them get hit here. Everyone cuts them. And then we swoop in.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a little bit
same with this next one.
Yeah, Ryne Nelson got the fifth starter's role. He's at San Diego and home to the Dodgers. Devastatingly difficult two-step. I don't even think I want to start him in a 15-team.
Though I will say, both bottom halves of those lineups
I know
are not very good.
We made the comment early this year saying that it's not the Avengers lineup for the Dodgers anymore, that bottom half. Although James Outman had an excellent first game.
Yeah, he did.
There's another one of those, though, where it's like, you drafted the guy. Should you use him for a two-step, or is it just too freaking scary?
It's way too scary.
Nelson had 3 starts last year. San Diego, LA, San Diego. He put up a 147 ERA. I'm just saying.
I might end up doing it, but like I think in 15 teams you can make the rationale for it. I think in 10s and 12s, it's probably not roster.
10s and 12s, I wouldn't pick him up. I think you could pick up so many of these other guys that we're talking about over Ryne Nelson. If you got him in a 15.
I might do it. I've got him in the barf league, and I'm willing to barf on that one if that's, I guess, the case.
Ryne Nelson or Matthew Boyd?
Oh, Ryne Nelson. I'll take that gamble.
Okay. You think that easy, or just because of Houston?
Houston. It is. Yeah. I think Boyd's still the much better pitcher, but
that's what I was getting. That's where I was going. Okay. Yeah. I could maybe convince myself on Ryne Nelson too, but if it was Trey Jameson, I think I'd be more in because that's my guy. Johnny Cueto gets Minnesota and at the Mets. I guess he's getting pushed because he was originally slated for I'm actually glad I cut him now because I drafted him just to get some arms potentially pitching this week. But then he was slated to go against the Mets, and I was like, well, I don't want to do that. Now he's pushed. It's going to be Luzardo, Cabrera, and Rogers finishing up the series with Cueto on Monday. So he gets Minnesota, but then he goes to the Mets. So what do we think about Cueto set up for a two-step? You interested at all?
No.
Is it because of his devastating spring?
Oh, I don't even know what. Yeah, but like he also like does well because he's able to throw off hitters' timing, and now with the pitch clock, he can't throw
He's doing
people.
all those
He can't.
wiggles.
He can't start early, right? He can't quick
Yeah.
pitch because he has to wait the 8 seconds, and then he can't like really like he can mess a little bit, but like he can't
But only a
mess in the
little.
same way. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
there's
so
certain things you can't do. That's actually
some
a
of
great point.
some of the effectiveness he gets from like changing speeds is lessened
Changing-
because of the pitch clock.
Changing body speeds, not just
Yeah,
velo
yeah,
speed.
bodies. Yeah, that's what I
a
mean. Yeah,
great
bodies.
call on Cueto because I was actually kind of like, maybe I'll pick him back up, but now I'm hearing you on that, and I wonder if that played a role because he was 3 2/3 in spring. I don't want to overrate,
Yeah.
but he got fucking destroyed, dude. 11 hits and 11 runs in 3 2/3. Like, and so the only reason I give any credence to it is because of what you're saying about the mechanics, and I wonder if he had a struggle adjusting to it, and that's why he got his clock clean, or if it was just a bad 3 2/3. I don't know, but I'm not taking the shot here with Cueto. There's too many other guys that we've talked about that I'd be more interested in. Let's go to your boy. This got a difficult one for your guy here, Steven Matz. You were big on him last year. I don't know if you're bought back in this year or not, but he gets Atlanta at home and a trip to Milwaukee. How do you feel about lefty Steven Matz going against those two clubs?
This one's hard because Milwaukee was atrocious versus left-handed pitching
Yes,
last
they
year.
were. Despite being pretty righty heavy, right?
Yeah.
Which is
I don't think Atlanta was super good against them either last year. Though I can't remember off the top of my head, so I'm trying to quickly look it up. But I think I'd take this gamble. Yeah, I think I would.
Atlanta was actually good against lefties last year.
Oh, were they?
Tied for first in WOBA with St. Louis. So technically, as far as Matz is concerned,
so now
they
you're
were the
getting
best
a
team.
so you're getting a really really good team against
The
lefties
one up,
and a
one
really
down.
that's tough.
Well, the tough one's at home at least,
Yeah,
and it's a good park.
I think I'd go for it. I think I would.
I would too over Cueto, Nelson, the Tigers,
Yeah.
Contreras.
The question: would you do it over? Yeah, would you do it over Manaea or over Bradish?
I'd go.
I think I'm doing it.
Bradish.
I think I'm doing it over both, and I like Bradish a lot. I think I would go Matz.
I think I'd go Bradish, Matz, Manaea. I think
Okay.
that's my order. But yeah, that's an interesting group there, and I think people will be choosing from there. And Matt's had a solid spring, quietly too.
Yeah.
No one really talking him up anymore because he got hurt last year. But I know you were really big on him last year, and I feel like he was doing fine. Like he got blown up in the start before he got hurt, right? Because that blew up his ERA, and so it looks like he sucked. But if you kind of take out the
And then he came back, like as a reliever. So like it didn't really.
So it was kind of an incomplete grade, is what I would say on that last year. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
intrigued by Matz. A couple of Blue Jays, Jose Berríos, which can't believe he's even on this list, but we have to include him because he's no longer an automatic. And Yusei Kikuchi, they get trips to KC and the Angels. What about Berríos and Kikuchi?
I'm not touching either of these guys.
Neither, dude.
Like there's just so much that can go wrong. Like it's just no. Like the Kansas City start is really interesting, but I know the Angels just got shut down by Kyle Muller and the A's, but like I don't buy that that's gonna. Did you see Anthony Rendon like grabbing a fan? Like
what was that? What's he doing?
He was the fan called him a piece of shit or something like that.
Like,
and
you gotta keep your hands to yourself. Listen.
That's
fans get way too wild these days.
Yeah.
Out here talking some BS, and they're gonna F around and find out, right? Like, I'm not saying that it's right that a player would do that, but you're gonna talk your shit and thinking that you're invincible, and some of these players are gonna let you know that you're not. They're gonna face the consequence when they do that.
Yeah.
But if
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he should be suspended for that, to be honest. Like,
yeah, I mean, you can't
grabbing someone.
You can't put your hands on fans.
But yeah, I mean, as far as Berríos and Kikuchi, like Kikuchi had moments in spring, but then you like look at things like the walk rate and you go, oh, okay, he's still just Yusei Kikuchi, and and Berríos did not look good in spring.
No, I'm not in on the buyback on Berríos. At least as a community, we didn't do the Kikuchi thing again this year, hyping him up, because we've done it as a fantasy community for like the last 14 years.
And I've led that train.
I've participated in it too. Last year I was finally out, and it didn't happen this year. So I do appreciate that. But yeah, I'm sitting out this one at the Royals, at the Angels. Taijuan Walker, he's my boy, man, but no shot here at the Yankees and home to Cincinnati. That's a hard pass for me.
Yeah.
Michael Grove. Oh, we didn't mention because I was saving it for here. Ryan Pepiot won that fifth starter's job and then goes to the IL. That's such a bummer for a young
Yeah,
player.
and I didn't get I picked him up in tout, and you have to start him in tout when you pick a
That's
guy up,
yeah,
and it's
that's
just
brutal.
so annoying. Like, but
That's really tough. So it's an
is what
oblique
it is.
strain, which we do hate. We hate him more
4 to
for
6
hitters,
weeks.
but it's 4 to 6 weeks. It's an
Yeah.
easy cut for Pepiot. So Grove's going to get the spot. How do you feel about Grove longer term for the 4 to 6 weeks? And then how do you feel about a two-step home to Colorado and at Arizona?
Yeah, I mean, long term, I don't think he's going to have a ton of long term value. I think Pepiot will get that job back once he's healthy, and at some point, other guys are going to be up that potentially are just much better than Grove long term. But I think for the short term, yeah, like Miller and Stone. I think for the short term, he makes a lot of sense. Like, this is a pretty good two-step. Home versus Colorado and then at Arizona. Like, I think I'm rolling the dice on this two-step here.
Yeah, I'm taking this shot with Grove. I kind of like Grove a little bit, maybe a little bit more than you. In terms of even in the 4 to 6 week range here, he might get usurped by Pepiot as soon as Pepiot comes back, unless he's cooking, and then another opening might occur via injury that brings Pepiot back in. But I was always thinking that Pepiot was for the bullpen anyway with his command. So I'm intrigued by Grove. I don't think he's a stud, but I'm definitely taking this two-step, and then we kind of play team streamer from there. Zach Plesac. I only brought him up because it's at Seattle. At Oakland and then home to Seattle. Not too bad. Obviously, an amazing matchup and then like a decent one. Seattle's good, but they're not an automatic runaway type of offense, at least right now. And Plesac's super available. What do you think about him? 15s, 12s, are probably the two main considerations. Are you interested in Zach Plesac at all?
Not really. I mean, I guess in a quality start league because he maybe could volume his way to that, but I just don't think he's very good at all. And no,
I mean, he's pretty bland. I think in a 15 you can do it because of the Oakland start.
Yeah, I think the Oakland start makes sense. I just also think he could just get murdered by Seattle.
He could get murdered by Oakland. That's the thing.
Yeah,
he's
absolutely.
Not very good. And I think we're finally at the point where we're done looking at 20 from Plesac and thinking like, oh, that was a harbinger. No, it was a hot run. And if it had been buried in the midst of a full season,
we never would have thought about him.
We'd have said, remember when he streamed him for a couple weeks? Because that's all it was. It was not an emergence of an ace. It was just a decent run from a capable major league pitcher. Like, he's a solid 4-5, but that's it for Zach Plesac. And he got treated as differently for a while. Drew Smyly is currently upright. Do you want to use him while he's upright at Cincinnati and home to Texas? Because I do not.
No, he looked awful in spring. I'm not in that.
He did, and we'll see how long. I hope he stays healthy. I'm not trying to be nasty about it, but he just gets hurt consistently. I did pick up this guy. This was who I cut Cueto for, so I'm hoping that Kutter Crawford stays on the two-step. Now, there's conflicting reports. He starts on Monday, but then they're saying that the two-step is going to go to Pivetta instead. Maybe it will, but I'm wish casting that Crawford gets it because it's Pittsburgh at Detroit. I'm definitely starting him for Pittsburgh either way, but if it is a second one, then it's at Detroit. I guess go ahead and throw in Pivetta here too, because one of them is going to get it. Some outlets have Pivetta, some have Kutter Crawford. Give me your thoughts on both Kutter Crawford and Nick Pivetta.
I mean, I think you start either. I think you start them both. Like, I think you get three out. You're going to get 3 starts out of the 2 guys.
Exactly.
And they're both really, really great opportunities against offenses you're not particularly afraid of. Detroit, I know they moved the fences in, but it's still a pretty good place to pitch. I think if you have both these guys or one of these guys, you're definitely starting them, whether it's a 1-start or 2-start.
Yeah, I think I'm going for either here just because if you're streaming Kutter Crawford and Nick Pivetta, you're doing it to get starts like Pittsburgh and Detroit. So go for it.
Are you starting these guys over Kyle Bradish? Because I am.
No.
Even though I like Bradish.
No, I'm really bought in on Bradish.
Okay.
It's still Bradish, the Red Sox who gets the 2, and then the Red Sox who gets the 1.
Okay.
Now back to Dylan Dodd. I hinted at him during the Max Fried thing. We did talk about him on Monday. Neither of us were super keen. We were kind of like, we like Schuster a little bit, Dodd not as much. But now Dodd has a longer opening, possibly here, with the added injury. At St. Louis, home to San Diego, do anything for you?
No, it's just too tough of a match. We just saw what St. Louis did to Alek Manoah.
Manoah.
Yeah, I'm not messing around with that. San Diego's not super scary until they get Tatis back, but like they're also not a lineup that is a roll, that you're just going to roll right over. So, there's very few pitchers, maybe like the top 35 starters, the guys I'd roll out against a St. Louis, San Diego kind of start, and that's about it. Yeah.
Tough run. Deeply consideration only here, and probably a no, but I'll go ahead and say it because he is a two-step. James Kaprielian, home to Cleveland at Tampa Bay. What do you think?
No. James Kaprielian's not good at baseball.
I mean,
he's okay,
good enough
but
at baseball to be
I don't know that I want to. I still think
fantasy baseball.
Yeah, I don't think I want this.
Yeah, because like he did some things last year, and 4.07 ERA, 122 WHIP back in 2021 with some decent skills. And then last year it was 423, 134, but then a 7% strikeout to walk ratio was the problem with Kaprielian, and he always gets hurt. So, I'm with you there. It's just not that great. So I'm not. I'll tell you this: AL only, I wouldn't even start him here. Kaprielian.
I mean, do you want to stream that game? Do you want to live stream that game? It's Kaprielian versus Zach Plesac.
Do our watch party there?
Yeah, do our watch party for that.
Negative 6 people. They somehow take 6 viewers from us. Yeah, we would deserve. We just get shut down. Like, sorry, you can't be. This is too nasty. Nobody wants to watch this shit.
Yeah,
I can't do it with. Like I said, even AL only, I wouldn't really go for Kaprielian.
Yeah, no, I don't want to.
All right, those are the 2 steps for next week. Like I said, if somebody wasn't. Has a 2-step that's really good. I purposefully didn't include them. Like Freddie Peralta, we don't need to tell you to go for him. And there were even a couple guys here that I didn't need to tell you, like Hunter Brown, but I just wanted to get your thoughts. Charlie Morton, we know. George Kirby, those guys. So anyway, give us a couple tips. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you want to run through our main event teams real quick since we're...
I'm very bitter about mine because Verlander's hurt. If you want to talk about yours again, I was going to say, why don't you throw out a few tips on how to manage the early season? But if you want to talk about our main event teams, we can.
Oh yeah, I mean, why not? Let's just. I mean, I think we both have. I like your team. I know you're upset about Verlander, but I really like your draft. I like your team. I like your draft better than I like my draft. To be quite honest.
Really? Wow. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, it has nothing to do with how good your team is. Just like I don't like what I had. It's not that it sucks. It's just I made a mistake early on. I think I recovered from it well enough. And I mean, luckily, to be quite honest, like with the amount of early pitching injuries we've already seen, like maybe it was fine that I didn't invest in early pitching. And the guy I had been thinking about taking 7th overall in Corbin Burns, like got lit up yesterday.
Number, man. They picked him last year too at Wrigley.
So, but like,
get out of there. Sorry.
I mean, originally I knew I was going to start kind of hitter.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cedric Mullins stared me in the face in the 4th round. And I made the mistake of not passing him over for a pitcher.
And you regret Mullins.
I do regret. I mean, it's either regret Mullins or regret Austin Riley in the 2nd. Instead of taking like a Shane McClanahan or a Max Scherzer in the 2nd. So I ended up going 4 straight hitters and then taking a closer in the 5th. So not getting my first starting pitcher until the 6th round.
And who was it?
My first starting pitcher was Joe Musgrove.
Okay. Well, and he's not even pitching yet.
Yeah. So I had a really good offensive day yesterday, but
yeah, you did.
Not very good in terms of the pitching stats because I haven't had a starting pitcher throw yet. So, I mean, I like what I did in terms of voluming my way back. I went, 3 straight rounds of starting pitcher and Joe Musgrove, Lance Lynn, and Nestor Cortez, in order to kind of try to make up for it. And then I took Jordan Montgomery in the 10th and Brady Singer in the 12th. But it was an uneasy feeling to kind of. I had a plan going in, and I went away from it, and I think that was a mistake.
Got to stick to your plan now.
Yeah.
I did execute my plan. I had like a map out with players for like each round, pretty much all the way through it. It opened up quite a bit, obviously, in the latter rounds, but like I had targets that I was looking for with pivots in case I got this, in case flow chart type of stuff. But I opened with Tucker at 7. I was unaware of Rob DiPietro's love affair with Ohtani because apparently I never, ever, 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 ever had a chance at Ohtani, which I was operating as though it could be Ohtani, Tucker, or Cole. Those were the three that I was considering. I did have the opportunity to get Tucker or Cole. I went Tuck. Cole went pick 10 to Vic to 4. TAFUR. He writes over at The Athletic about the the Vegas Raiders. And then I came back with Verlander. So that's a dead pick. Cool life. He's out for the year. I'm just kidding. I'm such a crybaby. No, but I went with Verlander, then Hader. So I got my ace and my closer. And then I went 3 straight hitters. Seager, Jimenez, Bregman. Left me a little light on speed. And I wanted to get Sale in the 7th, and I did. I was hoping to get Yelich to come back, and he did not. I'm trying to figure out where he went, because he wouldn't have answered all of my speed quite. He's not like some burner, but I wanted to get somebody that runs a bit. Yeah, it was the 8th. So coming back, I was going to get in the 8th. I was going to get Yelich. He goes in the beginning of the 8th round. I ended up taking Stevenson, but then I got Ahmed Rosario, who wasn't really in the plan, and I think he'll run for me. So, I don't have a ton of speed. I've got Rosario. I got some from Tucker, Rosario, Segura, Oswaldo Cabrera. I think Michael Massey can get double digits. Edward Olivares can get double digits. I think Alec Thomas could be sneaky with some steals. I'm actually, I kind of had a late burst on him because the playing time was so guaranteed with him. So I am a little slow. But if things are, if opening day is indicative of things, then maybe I can get some off the wire. Now, I will need more to compete, but hopefully I can burn and churn off the wire. I like my hitting otherwise, though. I think my pitching is all right. I went Verlander, Giolito, Sandoval, Bradish as my top 4. Bradish as the 4 is probably a little light for those, but I also got Kopech late. I got Kopech in the 22nd round. So if you want to look at it as Kopech as my 4 and then Bradish as my 5, you can just flip them. I did get a little 2-hitter heavy down the stretch, though, and I didn't get enough bench pitchers, and that's definitely something that I goofed on. That said, I just wasn't loving anybody. Like my boy Turnbull got murked. Braxton Garrett was somebody I kind of liked. He got murked. Nick Martinez. But I didn't have a ton of names, so I just started plucking these hitters that I like. Edward Olivares, Spencer Steer. I took David Hensley with my last pick, so I ended up going with Greinke and Cueto late. I mentioned I already cut Cueto for Kutter Crawford. But I'll stream the extra pitching. I didn't think that the late pitching was that good. If I couldn't get my Dre Jameson, my Nick Martinez, my Spencer Turnbull, those were 3 targets that I was really keyed in on. I got none of them, so I guess I wasn't keyed enough in on them. So I went a little hitter heavy late, but I don't mind it. So I like the setup of my team. I'm just mad about Verlander because I feel a little light on pitching right now, and I think that's what's got me a little uber worried.
Yeah, I think my issue obviously is going to be pitching. I need Lance Lynn to be the guy he was in the second half.
Yeah.
I need Nestor Cortez to kind of be the guy he was last year. I need the rebound from Jack Flaherty and kind of the not necessarily step forward that I've been talking about for Brady Singer and Jordan Montgomery, but
take a repeat from Singer.
Yeah, if I get a repeat from both of them, I'm gonna be okay. But I need those guys come together because I don't have the top of the line ace that there were guys in my league who double tapped, Strider, Mambo Dica went Strider and DeGrom 1-2.
Dusty got that gift of Burns.
Yeah, Dusty got sitting right next to me. Dusty got Corbin Burns in the second round.
One pick before you, right?
Yeah, and Soto went 2 picks before me. There were gifts galore in this draft. So, I definitely think I can overcome it. And like I said, I love my offense. I got Gleyber Torres in the 9th, Anthony Santander in the 11th, Lars Nootbaar in the 13th. I even took Brandon Nimmo, who's a guy who I don't like.
Yeah, you were down on him.
But I got him in the 16th round.
It's not a bad spot. He gets runs from there.
You
don't usually get 100 runs in a teens round.
So, a lot of it's going to come down to my pitching. Do the guys that I drafted come through for me? And I also need to find a second closer because I took Felix Bautista, and then I just did 4 dart throws in the end. I took AJ Puck in the 22nd. Daniel Hudson in the 25th, Roldis Chapman in 26th, and Adam Ottavino in the 27th.
Okay.
So Robertson got the save yesterday,
I think
but
Robertson's
they
the dude.
also
I
they
would-
also
I would
said
cut
that they weren't
Ottavino.
going to name a closer.
Yeah.
So if Ottavino doesn't get an opportunity, probably by the end of the weekend, then he's getting dropped in Fab.
I like the other ones. I think Ottavino's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
cut for you. If you could change one pick, knowing what you know, right? Like just you have the board in front of you. You can change one pick to kind of turn your fates. What would it be? Would it be that early pitcher? Would it be something in the middle? What would you do?
Yeah, I think it's instead of taking Austin Riley in the second, I took either Shane McClanahan or Max Scherzer in the second. Because I mean, I made that Austin Riley pick, and at that point, 5 starting pitchers had gone off the board: Cole, Strider, DeGrom, Verlander, and Burns. And I went, somebody's going to make it back to me.
Yeah, it didn't.
That Scherzer, McClanahan, Alcantara, Aaron Nola, Clase, Javier, Hader, Woodruff all went in in the next the next 10 picks, and Goldschmidt made it back to me. I was like, I feel like I have Goldschmidt as a second round player and like close to a borderline first round player. And I was like, I feel like I have to take him, and that my original plan was to go hitter. But if I was going to change things, I probably would have taken like Woodruff or McClanahan or Scherzer in the second round.
Yep, I can totally see that. And, it is something that's workable, though. I like some of your mid-tier pitchers there. I really like Jordan Montgomery. I think you can actually get a step up from him. I don't know if you can get a step up from Singer, but if you get, like we said, a repeat, that would work. If I had a pick change, it's not even that I don't love this guy, but I took Evan Phillips in the 12th, and I do believe in him, and I think he's going to get a lot of saves, but I got Raylo in the 19th. So Hader, Raylo, I feel really good about. I would have pivoted to a starter there. Now, the only thing is, this is me knowing the board because I wasn't ready to take this guy this early and I didn't know. And shouts to DiVincenzo, 14th round pick, Hayden Wesneski. I guess since I have to go with what I know off the board, I would have taken Sandoval in the 12th and then Wesneski in the 13th instead of Phillips in the 12th, Sandoval in the 13th. That's the change I would have made there because I really like Wesneski, and I did feel like a starter short. And then once I got Lopez too, I'm like, now Phillips does feel a bit superfluous, even though I do think he's going to be like the 1A guy. And I know you like Hudson. I just worry about Hudson's health. I've been a Hudson guy before. We propped him up a bunch when he was on the Nats, but he's just not healthy. I do worry a little bit about Gratterall though, and even Vesia as a lefty guy. But that would be my change. I would give up the opportunity at Evan Phillips to get a different starter there, and it'd probably be Wesneski, maybe my boy Hunter Brown. Those are probably the two that I would look at there that went in that close range.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There it is. Those are our main event
teams.
Obviously,
biggest snipe. I got sniped one pick in front of me on Kelnick. It's where I got Nootbaar. The guy next to me was crushing me.
In front of you?
Yeah, in the 13th.
That's grimy, dude.
And like the reason why, like I originally had planned on taking Kelnick in the 12th, but I needed the pitching so bad. Having not taken a pitcher early, that I was really loading up in pitchers and kind of let Kelnick step in. But I was like, I had him, like I literally had it written on my piece of paper, and the guy went.
That's them knowing you because he went in the 15th in my draft. That's just
knowing that
you're going to be taking him soon. Mine was probably Scott Wagner taking Gabriel Moreno from me. Not like it was a pick before me, but I can't say that I was ready to take him in the 11th because I had just taken Stevenson, but I thought I could get him in the 13th. So when he took him in the 11th, he's like, I got to go for my guy here. And he had just taken Kirk in the 9th. So he was ready to go with his double catchers. And I knew Moreno would go up. I didn't think he'd go up that much. That was a bummer. I mentioned the Yelich one, which was in the beginning of the 8th round there. I ended up getting Stevenson that round, so I'm fine with that. But that one was either Moreno or Yelich would probably be my bigger snipes there.
I don't know if Dusty's going to listen to this, but he was a real asshole the whole draft. Like just taking all the guys. Yeah, like just drafting next to him was really fucking annoying.
And, listen, he might duck me on pods because he's afraid to talk to me, but your boy Dave, he did get Fraley from me.
Yeah, you got
16th, so
Wesneski. Yeah, like
hats off. Yeah,
um,
Wesneski and Fraley. He must listen a lot, and he seems to
mhm.
really like a lot of what I do. He's probably doing it. I get it. You know, I get it. You would want to follow somebody that knows things, so I totally understand that. But yeah, the Fraley snipe was nice there.
I liked his draft a lot too. So
Yeah,
like
I thought they took some really good players. I really they got Donovan too. So I you know, again, ducks me on pods.
yeah,
He's too scared to
that
talk
one
about pods, but he made some good picks.
we should have him on.
No, he'd be too afraid.
The Donovan, I didn't get Donovan in either my auction or in my main, and
He
that
took him
one
in the 18th. I had my opportunity on that
Yeah.
one. You know, you get to a certain point in the draft, you can only complain so much, right?
he went in the
Like,
16th round of mine.
That's where they took Fraley. So for you with Donovan, I get it. In the 18th, that's on me.
And
I
that's
should've taken
where I took
Donovan.
Nimmo because I really wanted Donovan there.
So this is where maybe I drafted too much to my quote unquote needs, because in the 15th I took Segura because I felt slow with Tucker, Seager, Jimenez, Bregman, Stevenson, Rosario, Nootbaar, which it is slow, right? Like that, I think that is a viable need. So I took Segura instead of Donovan. If I had just gone like with my straight talent instead of needs, I go Donovan there. Do you think Segura? Like, what do you think between that there, given my speed component?
No, I think that's probably right. Like I think Segura went in the 15th of mine, so I don't think that was a bad call.
I mean, I feel like I need his double-digit steals, and what if he's a guy who gets back to 20 because of the rules?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and being on Miami, like they're not going to put a
run.
red light on him. Yeah,
exactly. So, you know, I like Donovan though. I'm in on the late Donovan train. The Cardinals Devil Magic hitting for power. He goes yard.
hitting second in that lineup. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did get Newt at least, but I would have been happy to get both. There's two red color based teams that I would have been happy to double up on. I would have been happy to go Myers Fraley, and I would have been happy to go Newt Donovan for four of my guys there, because I really do like those four guys. But that's right. I like my squad. I think I got some guys that really intrigue me, and you know, it's going to take some work off the wire. But hey, honestly, when I looked up at my workload this year, it's pretty light. So I will.
That is not the case for me.
No, you took the year off. You know, you took that down year last year to win a bet, and then you decided to like quintuple down this year and say, you know what?
I mean, I don't have quite that many, but like some people on Twitter were doing up the math when I did my like shares, post on like who are the guys that I ended up with, and they're all like, oh, I figured it out with the percentages and stuff like that. And Danielle's all like, I did 21 redraft leagues.
You psychopath.
So it's not as much as like 21, but more than last year.
That doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah,
it's so much waiver work. But yeah,
well, no, I mean, I'm not in that many fab leagues.
Oh, okay,
so,
okay.
Yeah, no, okay. I think I'm only in like 10 fab leagues.
Yeah, I'm in 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm only in 5, which is great.
On NFBC, or because you have
just 2 on NFBC that are fab. And TGFBI. I didn't do a beat Paul Sporer. I couldn't carve out a time. Sorry about that if you were looking forward to it. And shouts to Greg was offering that up for me to stream. I couldn't find the time. I'm gonna have to budget things like in February of next year. I'm gonna have to like map out every day of March, because with the OTP job and fantasy, I was burning at both ends, man. And it's all baseball work. It's fun. It's cool. I'm not crying about it, but there's only so many hours in the day, and I just didn't have time. So I ended up with a lighter workload, and I'm okay with it though.
Yeah.
It gives me time to really dial in on TGFBI, main event, Tout Wars, Listener League, even though I didn't put my lineup in for the first day. I'm sorry. And NFBC does this too, so this is not just an Yahoo shade. The default of not having anybody in the lineup is fucking stupid. That's stupid. That's stupid, okay? Because it's not like I even forgot about the league. It was, I'll check it on the weekend when some stats have started. But I still should have checked it. It is on me. I'm owning that. I can also say that the default to not have anybody in the lineup is stupid. So I lost the day in the head-to-head league. Hopefully it doesn't kill me. I only had one pitcher going, but it's going to be hard to come back from that.
Yeah.
At least for the first week. Is it a 3-game week, or are we playing all 10 days?
I think we're all playing all 10 days. So
that gives me a better chance.
It gives you a better opportunity to catch up, especially in the pitching, because like
Yeah.
you said, you only had one pitcher go. So, yeah, no, I just did the math. I have 10 redraft fab leagues. So like
that's not the end of the world.
I got eight in NFBC, or no, sorry, 11 because I forgot my CBS one. So, yeah, one CBS, one the listener.
Too.
Yeah, exactly. So
that.
And most of my dynasty leagues, I'm not competing this year. And I kind of set it up that way, where I went like, you know, I'm having kind of a rebuild here in all my dynasty leagues. So,
all right, well, Friday's in the books, opening days in the books. We got baseball, man. It's awesome. Listen, I'm so glad to have baseball back. Oh, they did hear somebody told me that there's going to be fewer day games in general this year, and I don't like that. That pisses me off.
That's a bummer.
Somebody who loves. Yeah, I love to have games on the second screen during the day, but that's all right. It'll give me more time to watch games that I missed the night before, because you can only watch so many games at once, right? But it's great to have baseball back. Are you guys going Sunday? Talking fab pickups or anything?
I gotta check with Jason, but probably, or I'll just grab someone to do it. Especially because we won't have next weekend with Easter, so we'll definitely try. And we're gonna do, for those of you who are in the Discord, we will do some sort of watch party. I may do it Monday. I gotta check the schedule.
Okay.
So just because I know I'm going to opening day on Friday for the Giants next week, so I know I won't be able to do that Friday.
Okay, well that sounds great. Did you did you see what Pitching Ninja just put out about
I did not.
Stallion's first pitch? So Megan Stallion threw out the first pitch in Houston. Definitely check it out. It was awesome. But he overlaid it with the with the Jose Ramirez pitch from Matt Action. It's very funny. I just sent it to you. Enjoy that. Anyway, good luck on Sunday.
You should do a 50 Cent overlay. Take it easy.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.